guest, and from the biggest fight of the year, Canelo Alvarez defending two of his titles, Danny Jacobs, his IBF title on the line, middleweight unification fight between two of the best fighters in boxing today. We're going to get into all that with our panel, but first I want to introduce the promoter of this event, a Hall of Famer, the chairman and founder of Golden Boy Promotions, the great Oscar De La Hoya. So, Oscar, I think you have a toast you want to give at this point?
I do. Can I have a drink? Can I get a Hennessy drink, please? So everyone, on behalf of the Zone, on behalf of Golden Boy Promotions, we want to take this time and thank you. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for everything that you do for the sport of boxing. Thank you for the support you've given this incredible fight on Saturday night. I can assure you that Daniel Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez will give us a battle for the ages. Your continued support is what keeps boxing alive. And I want to take this moment to thank John Skipper, Joe Markowski, Maverick. Thank you very much for being part of this family that is delivering the best fights to the world. We're very proud to be joining forces with LeBron James and Maverick to deliver you a special movie. 40 Days shows you what fighters go through inside the ring and outside the ring. So it takes you inside their world, and LeBron James and Maverick have really captured the essence and what it really is to what it looks like to be inside a fighter's head and inside the fighter's lives. So everyone, all the media, thank you. Muchas gracias a todos los medios de comunicación. Gracias por todo el apoyo. Sin ustedes no estuviéramos aquí. Así que I want to raise my glass, my Hennessy glass, and thank everyone. So salud. Salud to a great night of boxing live on the Zone. Salud.
Well, thank you, Oscar. I'm looking forward to a terrific event on Saturday, and as you mentioned, 40 Days, which we're going to be screening the first two episodes of after our panel is terrific. Maverick Carter, LeBron James, their group did an unbelievable job taking you inside the camps of Canelo and Danny Jacobs. I want to introduce the rest of our panel right now. First is John Skipper, the executive chairman of the DAZN Group, and Maverick Carter, the CEO of Spring Hill Entertainment. Gentlemen, welcome, and Maverick, again, congratulations. The show was excellent.
Thank you.
Did a terrific job with it. John, I want to start with you. It's been an interesting year, a busy year for you. You started out effectively trying to sign as many of the top fighters as possible to bring them over to DAZN. You've started to branch out over the last couple of months, expanding with partnerships like the one with Maverick and LeBron. What can you tell us about the latest sort of stage of where DAZN is going?
Look, we did all this because our intention is to create a big business. And we hired Maverick and LeBron for the same reason I'm in business with Oscar. Same reason I hired Jamie Horowitz to do 40 Days. They're good dudes and they do good work. And that's what we want to do, is do good work for fans and create a big business.
Maverick, the 40 Days type vehicle is something boxing fans have become accustomed to, dating back to the days of 24/7. What All Access did. What kind of personal touch did you try to put on the uninterrupted sort of flavor to it?
Well, at Uninterrupted, our focus is always on telling the more than an athlete story. So we really wanted to add that touch of showing the fighters' delicate balance of single-minded focus of camp. When you go into camp, you're very single-minded. Canelo has one opponent, Danny Jacobs. Jacobs has one opponent, Canelo Alvarez. Heading into a fight, You have to put everything, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit into that. But you still have to be a human being who has feelings, who has emotions, who has a family, who has kids, and you can't just go and fall off the side of the earth during fight camp. You have to go to fight camp and be focused, but still find that delicate balance of being a human and being an athlete. So we really wanted to show that balance and really show it in a very unpolished, not overproduced way.
You've been a visible presence ringside at a lot of fights over the years. When did you first start thinking about, I want to get into boxing and boxing storytelling?
The truth of the matter is I've been a fight fan since I was a kid. My dad is here today, actually turned 60 today. He's had me watching great boxing matches since I was a kid. I remember as a kid hearing him and his friends, they would come to fights in Vegas. I've always loved the sport of boxing, and what we do at Uninterrupted is we tell the more than an athlete story. So putting those two things together, my passion, my personal passion for boxing, and we have many people in the company who are passionate about boxing, but everybody at our company is passionate about telling stories of athletes.
Oscar, you were the first on this type of platform 12 years ago. You're kind of old now. That's getting up there in age, man.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
I bet you his left hook still works, so you should calm down.
Yeah, I know it does. How have you seen this sort of platform transform to what you first saw in your experience 24/7 with Floyd Mayweather to where it is right now?
Yes, I mean I remember filming HBO 24/7, and it was the very first time that something like this was introduced to the fan base, to the masses, and it worked. You know, people want to know a fighter's story, what we go through. They want to see the human side of the fighter. They wanna have that connection. And the beautiful part about Maverick and LeBron and the Zone and 40 Days is that that's exactly what they do. Is they make you feel as if you're experiencing that moment with the fighters. They make you part of it, and it's very personal. And because a fighter's life and regimen is very, very difficult. As Maverick knows, that's good friends with LeBron James. An athlete's life is, we take our life through the ringer. We work hard, we wake up in the morning, and but people want to know more than that. They want to experience what it's like to just be an everyday individual, and what do we like doing? What are our hobbies? That's exactly what 40 Days takes you into, their personal life, and it makes you feel as if you're part of their life, which is I mean, you guys captured it beautifully, and I was very impressed being part of that first 24/7. It reminded me of those days when I'm watching 40 Days. It's very, very personal.
Maverick, when you're telling the story of a Canelo Alvarez who's been visible over the years, who has had his story told in different ways over the years, was there something you were trying to unlock, something you wanted to show, a side of him that maybe we haven't seen before?
Well, the thing about Canelo Alvarez is he's an amazing fighter, obviously. But as a fighter and as a human, he's on a journey and he's on a path. And what we really wanted to show and portray was he's still growing as a fighter, but more importantly as a human being. The things he's into, how he's thinking about life, how he approaches camp, how he approaches life outside of the ring. It's been a journey for him to this point, and he's still on that journey, figuring out what's right for him as he goes through camp. What's the right place? How does he train? How does he take his weight down? But also outside of the ring, what cars is it? Just how is he developing as a human being is what we really want to show, and let people in on that journey with him, and really get him to open up and let people in on his journey.
Don, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of your time here at the Zone. You've had a lot of success signing fighters, partnerships developed, Major League Baseball, and now, of course, what you're doing with 40 Days. On a personal level, what's this year been like for you?
It's been hectic, and it's been fun, and it's been filled with accomplishments. It's been great. We launched in Italy, we launched in the United States, we launched in Spain, we're launching On my 365th day, we'll launch in Brazil, May 7th. We signed Canelo, we signed Danny Jacobs, we signed Golovkin, we launched a baseball show. It's been a great year. It's been a lot of fun.
Maverick, in being close with LeBron and working with him extensively, in basketball, he is one of the most mentally and physically prepared athletes maybe there ever was. When you're looking at how a boxer prepares, how Canelo prepares, how Danny Jacobs prepares, does anything stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is I've been lucky to spend my career from a business standpoint and personal standpoint to be around maybe the greatest athlete the world's ever seen, definitely one of the best we've ever seen, and the preparation and the focus that he puts into it is amazing. But the truth of the matter is it's actually not like boxing. I shouldn't say it's not like boxing. The stakes aren't as high as boxing. And I think that's why dating back forever, boxing has been a sport that is favored by all type of people, sports fans, just regular fight fans, regular fans. It's a very easy sport to understand. The rules are simple. Two people get in the ring, and the person who gets beat up the worst loses. It's really easy to understand. You don't have to understand penalties. You don't have to understand all of these rules that you have to understand in other sports. But more importantly, the reason why the stakes are so high in boxing is because the consequence of a mistake, or if you throw a jab and don't pull your hand back and cover your chin, is you go to the hospital. You lose, you get knocked out. In basketball, the consequence of a mistake is a turnover, right? So the consequences, the stakes aren't nearly as high. If Tom Brady makes a mistake, it's an interception. He doesn't end up in the hospital, right? If Jacobs doesn't keep his hand covering his chin and Canelo hits him with a left hook, he gets knocked out. That level of focus and consequence and putting that on the line is something we can all get our head around. It's not something any of us want to do, but we all love watching things that the stakes are that high.
Oscar, who was the first guy to really make you feel that big shot in your career that made you recognize what pro boxing was really all about?
I mean, I started fighting at 5 years old, so when I was like 8 years old, I felt that first strong punch on my chin. But look, you learn from it. I mean, it's experience, and there's guys who can take the punch, and there's guys who can't take the punch. And Canelo and Jacobs are guys who can take the punch. And Saturday night, this fight, the fact that it's a unification fight, the fact that you have two of the best middleweights on the planet, calls for an incredible matchup. Jacobs coming from surviving cancer. I mean, when Canelo hits him on the chin and Jacobs is still standing, Canelo better have plan B and plan C, because Jacobs is coming with everything. I've known Jacobs since his first pro fight. I actually took him to the first world title. Unfortunately, he wasn't as lucky to win that title. I remember taking Jacobs to Iraq, Basra, on the USO tour, and I remember him being the first one up in the morning, running his miles at 5 a.m. He's very disciplined. He knows what he wants. He's determined. For me, as Canelo's promoter, that's exactly what worries me. His will, his strength, his mental power. Jacobs, this is the fight of his life, and he knows it, and he's ready.
John, you've negotiated billion-dollar deals with the NFL, the NBA in the past. Boxing is unique in the ways that sometimes personal histories get in the way of making deals, the politics of it get in the way. It's not just about dollars and cents. How have you found the negotiation part of boxing and your experience with it?
I found it great, right? We're in business with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. We're in business with Oscar and Golden Boy. We're in business with Gennady and Triple G Productions. We're in business with Maverick Carter and LeBron James. And on my first May Day in this job, we're going to be at the place where the most important sporting event of the week is happening. It's the best fight of the weekend, and it's been great. I don't think there's any problem with it.
Oscar, you've talked a lot about Canelo here, but he really is something of a throwback in that he just seems to consistently seek out the biggest challenges, regardless of whatever stage he is in his own career, regardless sometimes of where he can make more money in certain situations. What can you say about just kind of his attitude on what he wants to do in every single fight?
He's a professional. He knows what he wants, and he kind of reminds me of myself a bit. Canelo doesn't think about the business. He doesn't think about who he's going to fight next. He thinks about the glory. He thinks about his future, on how he's going to be looked at 20 years from now. He wants to be the very best, and to be the very best, you have to fight the very best. And that's why it takes us to this weekend. Canelo versus Jacobs is a fight that Canelo wanted. Who fights Triple G back to back and then fights Daniel Jacobs in a unification fight? Canelo does. And the only reason is because he wants to be great. He wants to cement his legacy as one of the best fighters ever.
Maverick, does something, boxing is home to some of the greatest stories in all of sports, just these guys, where they come from and how they had to get to this point. Does doing something like this kind of whet your appetite to do even more with other fighters down the line?
Yeah, absolutely. Boxing is something in partnership with the Zone that we're going to do a lot more of. We love these stories. Boxers have some of the most incredible stories, and unlike when it's a team, you can actually focus on one individual and really tell one individual story. You don't have to worry about the complexities of a team and a coach and a general manager and what happens there. It is about one individual being overly focused and overly obsessed with one goal and beating one person. So it's a perfect place for us to tell stories. And with John and Jamie, we're going to do a lot more in this space.